Lancaster, Pennsylvania, home to the highest concentration of Amish people in the United States. It also happens to be inside a swing state that will likely decide the election. Because of the Amish and the natural beauty of Lancaster, they get a lot of tourists. So in this special episode of The Nate Friedman Show, you'll hear a variety of perspectives from those not just living in Lancaster, but across the country.
We're actually doing a video in Lancaster trying to figure out who people are supporting for the election. I was wondering if I could ask you.
Trump. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me why Trump.
Look what we've just gone through for the last 4 years. It's got to stop. This monkey business has got to stop. The invasion at the southern border, the inflation, the immorality. It's got to stop.
Yeah. Are you in this area? Are you living in this area?
No, I live in a very, very democratic state, Minnesota, and
with walls.
Yeah.
Oh, so tell me about that. What's that like living under his...
Well, we live far enough out of the major metropolitan area. We don't have to put up with it. Minneapolis, about 60 years ago when I lived in North Minneapolis, it was a very nice place to live. Not so anymore. It just... And his policies are just horrendous. Immoral as you can get. Immoral as you can get.
Can you
what do you need tampon machines in a boy's bathroom for?
Can you tell me, what are some things about Walz that you'd like the country to know? Because I think the country doesn't know him very well.
They don't want to know him. Like I say, he advocated for the law that put tampon machines in boys' bathrooms in high schools. What do you need that garbage for?
Making Minnesota a haven for
sex change operations for little kids.
Bring their children, get a sex change, even for really young children. We find that deplorable.
Yeah, and abortions without restriction up until the day of birth, delivery. Yeah, just no ifs, ands, or buts. It's immoral. They talk about democracy, Trump being a danger to democracy. They pulled Biden out of office. He did, and then they make it sound like, oh, that magnanimous son of a gun. He realized that his melon was going bonkers, so he magnanimously stepped aside. Bullshit. They dragged his ass out, kicking and screaming, and they knew all along for 3.5 years that mentally he wasn't capable. Okay, there's Kamala. When she ran for president, she got 2% or less of the vote. I mean, a disaster. So he takes her on as vice president. And then when they haul him out, there's no vote. The people aren't given a vote. Here's our anointed queen. And the Republicans are the danger to democracy.
Remember this couple because later in this episode, they will expose something crazy that involves Social Security. Now,
Wow, folks. You talk about hitting the nail on the proverbial head. This clip is from Nate Friedman, and he's in Lancaster, as he says. He's basically trying to find out, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, home to the largest concentration of Amish in the United States of America. Trying to find people. What are they voting for? Finds this couple. They happen to be from Minnesota. And this guy and his wife, who, so we hear all the time, Trump supporters, they don't know what they're talking about. They're stupid. They're racist. They're bigoted. They're homophobic. They make stuff up. This guy just rattled off 4 or 5 things that they don't like about the policies in Minnesota that Tim AWOL Walz initiated. Tampons in bathrooms, murder, abortion up until the time of birth, even afterwards, sex change operations for minors without parental consent, all kinds of things. And so obviously, looks like this person served in the military. Thank you for your service. And came out basically and said, yeah, we're Trump supporters. And Nate's over there asking the questions, making the faces. It's just great. Let's continue on and see who else we find in this video in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Hey, sir. Sir, that's a great hat you're wearing.
Yeah.
Nice hat, man. I like it, man. I like that hat.
Sir, can I ask you? We're doing a documentary right now, and we're asking people who they're voting for. Do you mind coming in here and telling me why you're voting for Trump?
It's easy, sir. Just speak your mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So why are you voting for Trump?
Because he has a policy and she doesn't. She's a flip flopper.
What are the policies of Trump's that you like?
Well, the border, the Keystone Pipeline. See what else? The tax, no tax on tips for, and then there's the if you work overtime, he doesn't want to tax that. I'm trying to think of something else.
I saw that Kamala copied his no tax on tips. Do you think
Yeah,
that
she's a flip flop on both of them. I know.
Do you think that she'll copy the no tax on overtime?
She will. She will eventually, if she ever comes out of her cocoon. So I don't know.
What about you, sir? Why are you voting for Trump?
The reason I'm voting for Trump is I voted for Trump in 2016 when the first thing he announced was the fake news media, because I've always had this feeling that we were being lied to. And yes, the mainstream media, Hollywood and all of that played a part in the psyop of keeping us from the real truth. Yes, so fake news media. The reason why I support Trump is that, number one, exposing the deep state. Now you see P. Diddy, who is linked to Barack Obama. He's linked to Hollywood in so many ways. And you know how LeBron James said, ain't nothing like a Diddy party. Well, that's what's being perfect timing. That's what's being played out right at this moment, is that not only the DOJ, FBI, Department of Homeland Insecurity, and look at this. Look who's voting for Kamala Harris. You can't make this up the IRS. It's time to eliminate the mitochondria of it all. Is the 1913 Federal Reserve, who prints our money since 1913. That's who the albatross is. Until we start printing our own money, we'll never be free. And once again, I'm Red Pill Ken. I moved to Pennsylvania out of New York about 4 years ago because I could see how New York was becoming communist. There was no God in New York. No sense of God in New York. But in Pennsylvania, you will find some semblance of God and country. And I love the farmers. I love our farmers. And that's why I'm right here in this facility right here. We're only open on Tuesdays, but I'm shopping with people who I believe in, which is the Amish, where we're going to get a better food, free of pesticides, right? And I just love Pennsylvania for that reason. I'm going to live healthier, and I'm going to spend my money with people who I believe in Americans' principles and their values. God bless you, President Trump. Thank you for coming to the rescue to save America from these communists and their values. God.
Absolutely, folks. God bless President Trump, and God bless you too. This guy stole the freaking show, folks. The gentleman that was there before him that he saw, and he asked him, why do you like President Trump? Rattled off 3 or 4 proposals. Again, what does the mainstream media basically say? Trump voters, right? Hillary Clinton deplorables. Trump voters, stupid hicks, hayseeds, flyover country. This young man over here just rattling off all these things, talking about the Federal Reserve, talking about why he left New York City because he was saying that it was becoming godless, comes out to Pennsylvania to be with the farmers, says he's shopping on Tuesdays when the farmers market is open so they can get food that's pesticide free, chemical free, talking about, just bringing everything out there. This is obviously a black man with a Trump hat and the shirt that he had on previously is 1776. Take a look at this shirt here. 1776. Listen, folks, if this is any indication of what's happening in Pennsylvania, as I've said before, Trump, as far as I'm concerned right now, with the stuff that we've done, looked at the crosstabs in the polls, looking at various polls that are out there, putting up our own predictions or whatever, I've been saying that Pennsylvania is going to be at least a 3 to 5 point victory. I would not be surprised if he wins Pennsylvania by 5 or more. But right now, for me, it's a 3 to 5 point victory for President Trump. And it's because of people like him. It's because of the person that was there before him, the husband and wife team before. The Amish, those that are going to vote, are all 1,000% Trump. There's no Harris supporters within the Amish community. And if we can get the Amish, those that are willing to vote, and say that it's perfectly fine in their community within their religious, principles, because some Amish, because of the way that, they are, it's structured, in their culture, in their communities, they've got a bishop or somebody who's sort of the leader of them, and that one person is the one that makes the decisions as to what will be okay for the community to do or not to do. So there are those types of things that you've got to sort of, be aware of. But kudos to this young man here, folks. I mean, just perfectly enunciated. It was just great. Bravo, bravo, bravo. So I can't wait to see who Nate digs up next. Let's take a look.
Video right now, guys. Is that all right if I ask?
CBS was here earlier.
Oh, really? I want to interview both you guys. I want to ask you, why are you guys voting for Trump?
Well, I'm voting for his policies.
Okay.
If you don't get this country back on track, you're not going to have a country. It's going to be a socialist country.
How do you
he's
think-
got the right policy?
How do you think we're off track right now?
Well, the border, the economy, and just everything else. Prices, inflation.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. How have you felt that in Lancaster? Are you living here?
No, I'm from Maryland.
Maryland? Okay, so how
Socialist Republic of Maryland.
okay, so how is like the president impacted that area specifically? Have you felt like major changes in that area?
What, Biden?
Yeah.
I used to go out to dinner with my wife for less than $50. Now it's costing me $75 for the same meal. And people look at the gas prices now. That's ironic, isn't it? 2 for $10. That's the last. They're running for office, and now the gas prices start coming down. So that's the other thing.
The Fed cut the interest rates right before the election.
Oh yeah, right. And we're not, energy independent. I'm a farmer. And I got to have fuel for my equipment. So,
can you tell me about your farm and how you run it, and really how politics affects farming?
well, they got more regulations on it now. All right, and I have a farm that I sell hay to other farmers, and the farmers, if I add all my fuel costs up, I got to raise the price of a bale of hay. And these little independent people that have horses, I sell hay to them. So it affects everybody. I'm going down the line.
What are some of those regulations? Can you list a few that are new?
Well, they got more environmental regulations. You can't put this fertilizer on. You can't put that fertilizer on. So it's just restricted.
Got it. Thank you so much, sir. What's your name?
Jimmy,
I'm Nate. 8 years. You've been doing this 8 years?
Yeah. Took a lot of crap and I did very well.
Yeah. So you were selling Trump merch in 16 as well?
Yep.
Okay.
It was very soon as he came down that escalator and it came out.
Wow. So you're an OG. You've been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. So how have you felt the heat on you changed from 2016 to 2024? Like, it feels like a lot of Trump supporters feel.
His crowd is stable. His MAGA following, it's like a faith religion. You can't sway them. Our base is solid. It's getting the other base to come over to fight, convincing them of what's going on. Foreign policy, no wars, no one died. Gas was half price. Everyone respected us. Economy was good. No one bothered us. The main thing is no wars. Look at Ukraine. Look at those innocent women and children being slaughtered for nothing. Look at Afghanistan. The Taliban cut their tongues out of the women interpreters that they left behind. They don't put that on the news. They literally cut, how many nerve endings are in the tongue? In front of their dad, they did it. Then they shot him. All record. You got to pull up. It's all on the news.
In a lighter subject, how many of these t-shirts do you go through a day?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I do well. Yeah, don't be gone. Whatever's here, I'll fill up 3 or 4 times easy.
Wow, a day?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
show
I'll
this?
go through.
So-
I'll get through a good 80, 90 shirts and hats. You know how many hats are left? I already had that filled up twice. Twice I filled that up this morning.
He filled up these hats twice just today.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a good person to ask that
How come?
because I don't go to.
So we'll get to this lady in just a second, but I want to get back to the farmer folks and talk about, the farmer when he was talking here with Nate. And once again, he's a business owner, a farmer, Trump supporter, obviously. And he lays it out. He named two or three policies that were there. Nate asked him in terms of what he does. He says, a farmer, it's affecting me, the regulations. It's all about economics. He talked about having a meal with his wife, $50. Trump comes into office, same meal. Biden comes into office, same meal, 75. Talked about how all of a sudden, just before the election, fuel prices are starting to come down. Why? Because the Biden administration, nobody said this. No one mentioned this in the news. The strategic petroleum reserves are really on low, dwindling down, right? Let that fuel come into the country. And obviously, right now you've got more supply. Demand is still there, but you've got unbelievable supply. So what's happening with all of that? What's happening with all of that? Prices are coming down. Interest rates all of a sudden, 50 basis points. Lower interest rates. Why? Because we're coming where? Into an election. And then obviously the gentleman who owns the stand over here, the vendor, he's talking about the same thing. Named a couple of policies. Talked about that, things are going good, obviously for him. He's going through quite a bunch of merchandise here, Trump merch. And going through this area in Lancaster, you have yet to find somebody who's out there selling Harris merchandise or talking about Harris. And that's another thing. Did you ever see any booths or anything anywhere at all with, Harris merchandise, Biden merchandise, any Democratic merchandise? Of course you don't see that happening, folks. You might have seen it at the DNC. I went to a couple of rallies for Harris and Walls in the area, North Carolina area. Very few. And the merch, very few. It's very sparse, if nothing at all. So you don't see any of that stuff happening. But on the Trump side, they're selling things absolutely like hotcakes. Anyways, let's continue with Nate and meeting this young woman. I think you'll be surprised to find out who she is and why her answer as to whether or not she's voting. Let's go to that right now.
Well, I'm not a good person to ask that
How come?
because I don't go to the polls today.
Okay, that's fine.
Why? Because I feel it's better to vote for my niece.
Okay. Great. Okay. What is your faith?
We're Mennonite. We're not Amish.
Was it?
We're Mennonite. We're not Amish. So I don't know what the Amish community is.
Okay.
I'm not familiar at all.
Yeah. Okay.
I see signs for both, so I don't know.
Okay. Within the Amish community or just general? Okay.
Feeling like I wasn't getting the full story about who the Amish were really voting for, I did some digging. Starting out with this voter registration booth I saw not far away. I figured if they could tell me if people were registering more Democrat than Republican or vice versa, we'd have a better sense of who the Amish prefer. I didn't film people registering to vote though for privacy reasons, but here is the audio.
Oh, you're Republican. Because when we have registered, anybody can register here.
Then I thought of an even better idea. Go back to the shirt guy. He spends all day next to the Amish. Maybe he's spoken to them about this.
Look at you. You're really replacing it. I came back to see how you're doing.
Yeah, I've been putting more on. I wasn't kidding you.
Why don't I actually ask you one more question? Oh my God.
I ain't kidding you, bro. Be it down in any poll, I guarantee it. He's not tied with this witch either.
So that's what I want to ask you. So, big question for you. I came here to ask Amish people who they're voting for. They're not answering.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. They won't talk anything on the news, or they don't believe in it. They don't believe in anything electronic. So, especially if they see you with the camera, forget it. They're not even gonna let you take a picture, bro. Like I tried to take their picture a year ago. I had headbands, and the guy bought one, put it on his hat, and I got the phone out. I'm like, man, I'm gonna put that picture on YouTube. And then he goes, no. I said, oh, I forgot. They don't believe in any of that. They're graven images.
So, do you think that they're voting, or do you think they're not voting? And they're just like,
I think some of them are. I have someone buying my stuff. They do buy my stuff. And I was told by one time in New Holland that their bishops were giving them permission to vote after the live birth abortion became prevalent again. It was time to take a stance. Live birth, not just birth. I mean, regular, I don't believe in regular abortion, but this is even after the child's born. Now, if I did that to a cat, they'd cuff me. You know? That's when they started. Now, they're all different. They're not all the same. It just depends. Some of them might be all like real old school, and they're not going to do any of that. I had a picture one time of an Amish guy. Somebody sent me on a buggy. Let's go, Brandon. Yeah.
okay, so they're just quieter about it, but
yeah, they're under. They don't publish. They don't flaunt it because it goes against their tradition. You know what I mean? The little bit of guilt they have in using the technology, they don't flaunt it. You know what I mean?
So, if you had to guess which way that they're swaying, which you guess?
Oh, they're definitely Trump. I even get them sticking their thumbs up. Even the vendors here, the Amish vendors. Yeah, oh no, they're all Trump. They're not for the other way. I guarantee you. So they're religious people.
Okay, so the Amish, just want to understand. So Amish people that come by here, they give you a thumbs up.
Oh yeah. I never get anybody complaining. They're all in on it.
But hold on.
So what that vendor was talking about is 1,000% correct, folks. 1,000% correct. I spent a good part of my high school and college years in Pennsylvania, and we lived in an area in a town called New Wilmington, Pennsylvania, and it's probably the second largest collection of Amish Dutch after Lancaster County. And what he's saying is true. Now, this is going back some years, obviously, and back then, a lot of things, I mean, things have changed just like in every other community. And as he said, the bishops there, some of them you could say maybe are a little bit more, I guess the word, maybe they wouldn't use it, but I'm trying to think of a word, have become a little bit more liberal perhaps with technology and other things. For example, in some communities, this is prior when phones, when you had to put the quarter in the phone and dial whatever. In some areas, they had a public call office that the community could use. So it wasn't in everyone's home, but it was there in the community. Obviously, they were traveling around 95% of them, horse and buggy. Still, many do, obviously. But in some communities, the bishop or whatever, they had a car for the community, like for emergency purposes or for maybe moving the elderly around or those kind of things. So there's changes that occur in every community, obviously. I mean, the children are there, they might meet with friends that are, not Amish and whatever. They've got a cell phone. Now you've seen cell phones with some Amish people. So it's there. But what this gentleman is saying is that, yes, they're going by, they're giving the thumbs up. They are not Harris supporters at all in the Amish community. And he mentioned the abortion thing, after birth abortions, and he said that was maybe the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, where they basically, that's it. We need to stop this. And we need to vote and have, whoever is trying to ram this stuff down, the throats of this country, we need to see about stopping it. So, as I said here, he's walking around, and I could be walking around doing the exact same thing if I was back in Pennsylvania in those areas. And I'm telling you what, folks, no way, no how are you going to get anyone that's a Kamala Harris supporter. Not at all. Anyways, we hope you enjoyed this part of the video. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your host. My name is Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow. You all know what to do. Take a look at our video links here and here. My final thought is always, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.